We are up and rolling. So we are in week 13, the final week of regular season. We say with a tear. Top four stay the same in the college football playoff picture. Obviously, there was movement in the below the top four, but and we'll see how things go. Obviously, we have the big game with Ohio State and Michigan coming up, so we'll see what changes are in that top four after this weekend. Rough game this week for Miami Mike and myself. Mike's team, the Hurricanes, played one of the top teams in the country, and Clemson, and lost. But unfortunately, the Florida Gators lost to Vanderbilt. So pretty embarrassing weekend there for my Gators, Mike.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it on both sides. We can keep it pushing. Let's get the recap up last week. It wasn't a good week, so let's go ahead and just flash it quickly.
We really missed the snow game that we were counting on in Buffalo that would have got us that extra win, but unfortunately the game got canceled and we missed out there. So
that's right.
Wow.
Not great. Not great, Dave.
Quite ugly, Mike.
So not a huge hill to climb for a bounce back here. We both went 5. No, actually, I think I went
4.
Yeah, 5, 6, and 1. We both went 5, 6, and 1. It looks like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not great. Not great.
No. Not good at all. So hopefully we'll have a better week this week. I just want to point out I am wearing the colors of the Brazilian football team that won today in the World Cup, beating Serbia 2-0. Please remember to support Team USA. That's playing 2 p.m. tomorrow against England. So it's going to be a tough game. So be there in heart and spirit for Team USA. So just want to get my little pitch in for the World Cup, Mike.
It's beautiful, Dave. True patriot.
It's a beautiful game. Shall we roll into our first game?
Yeah, absolutely. You lead us off here. What are we talking?
Right,
is this Tulane, Cincinnati?
Yeah, we're gonna go Tulane and Cincinnati. We're gonna drop a little bit out of the Power 5 and talk Tulane, Cincinnati. So both teams come into the contest at 9-2, competing for first in the AAC. Michael Pratt is 65%. He's our Tulane dude at 22-20 in yards, 24 on touchdowns to interceptions. Bryant for Cincinnati is 61%, 27-32 on yards. He's 21-7 on touchdowns to interceptions. Tulane is 9-2 against the spread, quite good. Cincinnati a paltry 3-7. The winner of this game obviously is going to host the AAC championship game. Cincinnati is still trying to figure it out, Mike. Granted, last year they got the playoff and such, but a lot of changes in personnel with that team. I just don't think this is quite Cincinnati's year. Still retooling a bit from where they were. They had a lot of seniors, the COVID thing, so they were really stacked up last year, and a lot of those guys are gone. Tulane's got a pretty decent defense. Cincinnati's offense just isn't quite what it was. They're having trouble running the ball. The other thing of note is the quarterback for Cincinnati, Bryant, has an injury, might not play, so all that crap's up in there, which makes this thing even more of a lean, at which I'm going to push in a minute. Spears, however, the running back for Tulane is the bomb, just flat killing it. I think this is Tulane's year, and I think without a quarterback and really the trajectory of the two teams right now, I'm going Tulane here. Give me those +2, and I'm calling it a Gator Day block, Mike.
Gator Dave Lock, first of the week. All right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. My main thing is Ben Bryant is banged up, so they're going with that backup. And he was in competition for the starting job at the beginning of the year. Bryant is a transfer. He came in. So he had a shot at it, but I'm not impressed in the times that we've seen him in his appearances. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think this is Tulane's year. I think they're on a mission right now, and Cincinnati's in their way. Another thing to note, yes, the winner of this game hosts the conference championship next week in their stadium, but the loser they're not necessarily out entirely. There is a backdoor chance that they could get in, but loser of this game is most likely out of the championship. Tulane, I think, is just on a different mission to get there. So I'm with you. I'll take Tulane and the 2 points as well. Next game we're going to talk here is going to be Coastal Carolina, James Madison. I'll keep it sweet on my side, short and sweet. I like James Madison here. I've been on him most of this year. They're been cashing all year long. They are ineligible for a bowl game, ineligible for the conference championship. Otherwise, this game would be for the top spot in the conference between Coastal Carolina and James Madison. Coastal is without their starting quarterback, Grayson McCall. He is hurt, so he's still not playing in this game. This is James Madison's final game. It is a senior day, I believe, a celebration for them as well. This is their Super Bowl. They are ineligible again to play in a bowl game, ineligible to play in the conference championship because this is their first year in FBS football. It's a stupid, stupid rule, but here we are. So this is their final game. I think they're going to come out with a statement-type win. Give me James Madison -14. If Grayson McCall was playing for Coastal Carolina, it'd be a completely different game. It would actually probably be a really great game. College game day probably would have been there. But next year, there's always next year. Give me James Madison -14. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right, so Mike, we got Coastal Carolina coming in at 9-1. They've only lost one. James Madison jumping into the to the big boy league is at 7-3, done quite well. Coastal's starting quarterback is going to be a kid called Jared Guest. He's only played the game, so he's thrown at 40%. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 200 yards last week. The quarterback for James Madison, Todd Centero, 65%, 24-10 on yards, 25-5. Coastal's only coming in at 4-5-1 against the spread, where James Madison is 6-4. Again, like you alluded to, Mike, the stud quarterback for Coastal, Grayson McCall is out. And will be out for several weeks, so that's going to be a major factor, and obviously why the line is so high right now in James Madison's favor. James Madison came back against Georgia State last week with a win. The offense, however, James Madison's offense is only ranked 119th. They've lost 15 turnovers in the last 5 games. If Coastal could win this game outright, they'd probably be in a New Year's Six bowl. They would be that team outside the Power 5, depending on how things roll, that could be in a New Year's Six bowl. So obviously there's a lot of motivation there for them to outright win this game. But again, you're going at it with your backup quarterback. The backup has had a couple weeks of work and get things straight. Now, both teams do run the ball a lot, so maybe the QB doesn't come in as big of an issue as those would think. But I honestly believe that Coastal will do enough in this particular game to cover this 14 point spread, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take Coastal on plus 14.5, Mike.
So you think if Coastal wins this game, that they would jump Tulane for that New Year Bowl slot?
Well, they would be in the running. Obviously, Tulane would probably have to lose if they would be
So,
in
well,
there.
let's
And
say
the other,
like say Tulane wins, so that puts them at 10-2. They are ranked right now. I think they're 19th, and then you got Coastal, who's 9-1. So say they win outright as a
10,
14-point dog, they go 10-1
10 and
because
one.
they had the game canceled against Virginia. Um, so they're just gonna have 10 wins on the season, but they will still have one less loss than Tulane. So you think?
Yep.
I mean, it would be. They definitely have an argument. That's for sure.
They'll be an argument. So, with all that said, I just think it's enough. To me, when you're talking about 14 points, and this coach has done such an amazing job at Coastal,
Hmm.
I couldn't stay away from this one and Mike and saying that they could at least cover because they're going to have that fire in there as a possibility of being a player, man.
I got you. Right on. Yeah, it was one that I wasn't looking at, so right on for putting it on there. All right, next game we're talking is gonna be Troy and Arkansas State. It's at Arkansas State. I'm just gonna keep it sort of short and sweet with this one. Again, I like Troy. Troy's a much better team than Arkansas State. Arkansas State is weak on both sides of the football, especially the defense. Troy is better again on both sides of the football, especially the defense. Troy's favored by minus, I think it's 13.5 right now. Troy is 9-2, top of the West Division. For their conference, Arkansas State is 3-8. They're in the 7th spot in that division. Troy won 38-10 the last time these teams played in 2020. I just think Troy's on a mission right now. They're going to go 10-2, and they're going to get a pretty solid bowl game out of it, I think. What do you like here, Dave?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing, Mike. You know, Troy comes in 9-2, Arkansas State at 3-8. The Arkansas State quarterback James Blackman, he respectable, 65%, 2251 on yards, 14-2. Gunnar Watson on the other side of the ball for Troy is 61%, 2243, 9-9. So Troy is 8-3 against the spread. Arkansas State 7-4, so pretty tight there. Troy's only averaging 22 points a game. ASU is averaging 26. Troy's defense, however, down and dirty, only giving up 17 points a game. That is strong. Where Arkansas State's giving up 30. Troy's got 16 takeaways this season. I mean, they come in looking strong in this conference, and you know, with the conference championship on the line, Troy's got a lot to play for, and Arkansas State's got nothing,
Yep.
and they're at the bottom of the conference. I'd say this is a pretty easy one in taking Troy in the 13.5 here, Mike.
Right on. So we're in agreement there. Next game we're going to talk here is going to be Arizona State. You lead us off with this one, Dave. What do you like here?
All right, Arizona State. I am going to. So Arizona State is 3-8. My boy Emory Jones went down there to see if he could play. Things haven't fared well for him. Arizona is not much better at 4-7. So Trenton Bogart is the Arizona State quarterback that will be starting the game. 62%, 15-33, 7-4. Jaden DeLara is at 63%, 3485 yards, 25 TDs, but he does have 12 interceptions. But that's a lot of damn offense there for that QB. Arizona State is 4-7 against the spread. Arizona's a little bit better. It's 6-5 25. Neither one of these teams really have a lot of defense at all. Arizona State giving up 31 a game. Arizona giving up 36 a game. So a lot of points being given up by these defense. On the offensive side of the ball, Arizona State scoring 25, Arizona at 30. When I look at the head-to-head games, both teams did lose to Wazoo, Arizona State by 10, Zona by 11, so that's kind of a wash. In the last 5 games, each team has only won 1 game, so they really had a tough road to hoe. However, the one loss, the wins were Arizona State won at Colorado, Arizona won at UCLA. Something. I'll take that UCLA win over I would a Colorado win. I don't look for Arizona to run the ball a lot. They're all about throwing it. We talked about the quarterback and how many yards he had. So he's going to be flinging it around. Now, the Arizona defense has given up 30 points a game, but the last 3 games they have looked a little bit better in the last 3 games. Arizona State's pass defense is decent, so that kind of makes me kind of wonder if they can hold up against this passing attack of Arizona. But when it's all said and done, I'm taking Arizona in the money line.
Right on. Yeah, I'm with you. I like Arizona money line as well. The one thing that worries me is Arizona's defense. You pointed it out pretty heavily. That's my issue. But I'm not worried about this Arizona State offense at all. So give me Arizona money line as well. I just think they have more to play for in this game. Jed Fish, their head coach, former OC of Miami back in the day, he's going to have these guys ready to go. It's senior day in Arizona. It's a rivalry game. Also, this Arizona State team is down. They lost Herm Edwards, lost pretty much their entire coaching staff as well with him earlier this year. So you got to think about how much stability they have currently, how many guys are still committed to that program. They're 3-8, so they're not playing for a bowl game at all. How much are they worried about winning this game rather than their futures? Whether that's the transfer portal, the draft, whatever, as far as injuries and whatnot. So give me Arizona money line as well. I think that's probably my play of the week right there. Next game, the game. Ohio State, Michigan, top 5 matchup, playoff implications, top 3 matchup, really. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet tonight with all my stuff, Dave. I like Ohio State. I think they're going to blow the doors off of Michigan. I think Michigan is overrated. I think people are looking at what they did last year as this year. It's not the same team. I think that they're going to find that out. Also, both of these teams have had a cupcake of a schedule all year long. So now really this is going to be their first big test, and it's against each other at the biggest time of the year. Give me the QB with experience, still my Heisman favorite, C.J. Stroud, to get it done. And Ohio State wins in a big way to lock in their playoff spot. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right, so obviously both teams come in at 11-0. Number 2, number 3 in the nation right now because they haven't lost. And again, like Mike said, I mean, what a cupcake schedule. I mean, especially on the Michigan side of the ball. So J.J. McCarthy comes in for Michigan at 67%, 1952, 14-2 on touchdowns to interceptions. Heisman hopeful C.J. Stroud, however, 66%. 29-91, 1,000 more yards than McCarthy, 35 touchdowns, damn near 3 times as much as McCarthy, and only 4 interceptions. So, again, Mike and I talked about Stroud at the very beginning of the year, thinking that he would be that Heisman hopeful, which he's still very much in the game there. Michigan is 6-5 against the spread. Ohio State's only 5-1 against the spread. Obviously, the winner of this game is pretty much sewed up the playoffs, whether they lose in the which is so damn doubtful that they would lose in the Big Ten championship against Purdue. But they pretty much sewed up a berth whoever wins the game. Michigan won the game last year 42-27 at Michigan. Ohio State's pretty pissed about that. The word has it on the rumor mill that one of the linemen for Michigan in an interview basically opened his fat trap and said basically Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan, would not be playing.
Wow.
So that's what's got that's what kind of put the final nail in the coffin for me. Stroud hasn't, looked quite as dominating as he did last year. We know Michigan wants to run the ball, but how good are the backups, right? If Corum's not playing, we saw what happened last week, against Illinois. Now Michigan's they're gonna have to get after Stroud and get him moving, get him out of the pocket, and try to sack him in order to be successful. Like I said, Michigan had a tough time last week with Illinois. Now, one other factor is Ohio State running backs and their injury situation. They could very well be without their top two, but they've got a stable of running backs at Ohio State. And I don't think it's going to have a major factor in the game. Obviously, this is a big game. It is the biggest game of the week. I don't think it's going to be quite the blowout you're thinking, Mike, because if Corum is such a factor here, though. However, I think that really, if he in fact really doesn't play at all, then it's going to be easy money for the Buckeyes. If for some reason he can play, I don't think it would be a blowout. But if he can't play, it'll be a rout. This 7 points is easy money. No matter what, for me, I'm easily taking the Buckeyes in the revenge game and the minus 7 points, no matter what happens. But I'm really looking forward to watching this game.
Yeah, for perspective on Blake Corum, right? And this is why I'm leaning Ohio State so heavily, because of his injury. He has 1,457 yards rushing on this year, 18 touchdowns. He's averaging 132.5 a game. If he's out and it's all on J.J. McCarthy's shoulders, I'm sorry. I get where the hype is, and, he might be that guy in a year, maybe two. But right now, J.J. don't have it. So if it's on his shoulders, it's going to be ugly. And it's at Ohio State. It's a revenge game, like you mentioned. I think this is going to be very it's going to be very similar to Harbaugh's first couple years there when he was facing Urban Meyer. I think it's going to get ugly in Ohio this weekend. All right, moving on. Baylor, Texas. Go ahead, Dave.
All right, so Baylor, Texas. Baylor comes in at 6-5. Texas is 7-4. Pitchaven is 66%, 24-23, 14-9, and Quentin Ewers is 55%, 16-14, 14-6. Both teams are 7-4 against the spread. Both teams are scoring around 35 points a game. Texas defense has looked better, ranked 56, while Baylor's defense is only ranked 118th. Head-to-head games, both lost to TCU. Baylor lost by 1, Texas by 7. Baylor lost to Kansas State, and Texas beat Kansas State, who most likely will be in the Big 12 playoff game. Both these teams are really, to me, in that second level of the Big 12. I think you got K-State and TCU are the top two teams. So this is kind of the second level we're talking about. With this being a Big 12 game, and I think the offenses are decent enough, I noticed 55 and a half points is the over-under. I'm going to take the over in this game, Mike. That's where I'm going to go.
All right, right on. I like Texas. I like Texas minus 8.5. I think Baylor is a little down on themselves right now. It's just hard to come back from what they've sort of been through these last 4 weeks or so. From going to the top where they really had a shot at winning that Big 12, had a shot at potentially the playoff, to now, they're fighting for 500. They're fighting to be positive on the year. We'll see what happens, but I think Texas is going to be in a different mindset here. And Texas also has a backdoor shot to potentially get into that Big 12 championship. So, I'm going to take Texas minus 8.5. I just think they're going to be able to kick Baylor when they're down a little bit. So,
I think that's a good call.
All right, next one, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Points. I like points. It's in Lubbock. Give me points. Oklahoma's defense is garbage, but their offense is good. Texas Tech, garbage, but they have spurts of when they play up to competition. And Oklahoma is a team that people want to show up for. They'll be rowdy in Lubbock. I think it's going to be a lot of points very, very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if this over hits by halftime. So give me over 64. Dave, who do you like here?
Yep, both teams 6 and 5. Gabriel coming in at 62%, 24.76, 18 and 5. Tyler Slaw is 58%, 632, 4 and 2. Sooners are 4, 6 and 1 against the spread, and Tech is 6 and 5, so not too far off. Oklahoma won this game last year, 52-21, but we know kind of Oklahoma's on the downslide. Texas Tech is better this year. So one thing to note that the Oklahoma is 1 and 5 against the spread in the last 5 games against winning teams. So kind of makes you wonder about them. Texas Tech defense has looked okay as of late. Texas Tech is going to have to score a lot of points and kind of keep up, which I think they can. I think this game's going to be run and gun. Both offenses have shown they can move the ball quite well. And I, as well, am going to take the over in this game and totally agree with you here, Mike.
All right. So we've agreed so far, not to startle you, on five of the 7 that we've talked about.
Ouch.
Yikes. All right. Next one we're going to talk here is going to be, or 5 of the, 7. Next one we got is the Apple Cup out in their Pacific Northwest. Shout out to the chef from our NFL show. He lives out in the area. It's going to be a good one. Both of these teams are kind of riding high right now. Washington State's got a great defense. Washington's got a great offense. And the Apple Cup gets down and dirty. They definitely come to play in this one. They want bragging rights out in there in Washington for the next year or so. I'm going to go with the better defense and the points. Give me Washington State +2 to get it done against Michael Penix and this up-and-coming Washington Husky team. Who do you like here, Dave?
I like it, Mike. So Washington comes to 9 and 2. Washington State is 7 and 4. Penix for Washington, 67%, almost 4,000 yards, 38-69, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yep.
Ward for State is 27-72, which is not too bad. 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Washington is 6-5 against the spread. Washington State is 8-3. Washington State won this game last year 40-13 at Washington. And last year Washington State stormed whatever fans they had, stormed the field at Washington, planted their flag in the middle of the field. Washington's pissed. I guarantee you. This is a major revenge game. Washington's O-line is not that good. Michael Penix has looked like a dream. The last 5 games, he has flat torn it up. The offense has been cooking. They don't turn the ball over. They've got a chance at the Pac-12 title berth. Give me Washington and the money line.
All right. I like it. A little showdown action. There we go. That's more like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next game we're going to talk to. We're bouncing all over the place today. I kind of like it rather than going by conference. It's a little more on your toes, you know. Next we're going to talk North Carolina and NC State. Battle down there on Tobacco Road. I think the better team is going to prevail here. And unfortunately for us and our preseason predictions, it is not NC State. I like North Carolina right here, -6.5. Give me Drake May to bounce back. He didn't have a touchdown last week in that loss against Georgia Tech. I think that was a look-ahead game. They really, they got lazy. They thought they were just going to sort of show up and win that game, and Georgia Tech came to play. I think this one is different, though. These teams do not like each other in really any category, sport, academia, pretty much anything. NC State and North Carolina do not like each other. So they're going to show up for this one. I think North Carolina is going to get it done en route to that ACC championship matchup against Clemson, where I think the Tar Heels are going to give them a game, but we'll talk about that next week for part of our championship and bowl sort of show. But, yeah, give me the Tar Heels. Who do you like here, Dave?
All right, so here's what I got, Mike. So NC State comes in at 7-4. North Carolina at 9-2. Looks like Mr. Ben Finley will be the starting quarterback for the Wolfpack. He is 46% 1-1 for the Wolfpack.
Quick note on that guy. He was their 4th string quarterback going into week 1 this year.
I'm going to get to that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Drake May, 69%, 36-14 on yards, 34 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. This is a redshirt freshman.
Balling.
NC State against the spread, Mike, is 3-8. 3-8. That's
balling.
hot garbage. Now North Carolina is only 5-1, but 3-8 sucks. Looks like the Wolfpack again, like I said, is starting their 4th quarterback of the year. I think they're going to try to run the ball a lot because probably this Mr. Finley is not going to do quite well, no matter who they're playing. I can't imagine having to start your 4th-string quarterback. NC State's lost their last 2, and one against Louisville, the other against Boston College. Holy hell. They're quite on the downswing, Mike. Carolina did lose to Tech last week. And last week, we all know, was a crazy damn week in college football. But they're still playing for the ACC championship against Clemson, no matter what. If you look at the numbers, NC State scoring 38 points a game. The Wolfpack are scoring 24. Even with the losses, NC State's defense they've been okay. Only giving up about 20 points a game. I think that's the only thing that North Carolina State can really hang their hat on. And Carolina's given up 30 points a game. Now, North Carolina, this defense is probably the best defense they faced all year. But damn, this offense that Carolina's got with Drake May is, it's not that fast and furious that the Vols have, but damn, it's efficient and effective. Yeah. And Drake May is the real deal. So I'm taking the Heels, easy money, and -6.5 here, Mike.
Right
easy
on.
Down.
Yep, I agree. Also, too, North Carolina shouldn't have lost that game against Tech. Josh Downs dropped a wide open touchdown at the end of that game. So they could easily have won that, but they definitely didn't deserve to. All right, next game. A game that I did not want on the board, but looky there. Look what we got, Dave. Look who put it on there.
We had to, Mike.
Pittsburgh Panthers are visiting the Miami Hurricanes down in South Florida. It's Miami Senior Day. We've had a couple of guys hit the transfer portal in this last week, which I'm not too upset about, other than the fact that we are very thin at depth right now already, and that just made it a whole lot worse. So, I have a hard time believing that we're going to win this game, but I think we're going to compete, and I think we're going to come to play. It's a night game in Miami, so it's got a much better turnout potential of people showing up to this game. It is Senior Day again, so should be a good amount of students there. They honor them. They do a walk around on the field. So give me Miami. We need this one to be bowl eligible. It's +6.5. We're 5-6 right now. We need this game to be bowl eligible. I think we get it done. I didn't get to the window on it. I just can't trust this team right now, but I'm hoping that we get a little momentum going in and we are able to have a bowl game this year. So I'm riding with the Canes. Give me them +6.5. Who you like here, Dave?
All right. So Pitt comes in at 7-4. Miami's 4-6. Slovis
5-6.
5-6.
Thank you, Dave.
My bad, sir.
Put some respect on our name, Dave.
I know. My sincere apologies to you and the Miami Nation.
Thank you. You may continue.
All right. So Slovis has not looked that good. I mean, 58%, 2135 on yards, 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I mean, he's just not looked that good. Brown, coming in 57%. Obviously, he's a freshman. 226, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rough game, obviously, against Clemson. Pitt is only 4-7 against the spread. Miami's 2-9. Pitt won their last 3 games, so they're coming in on a bit of a winning streak. Miami's 3-2 in their last 5, which is not that bad. Pitt's won 2 of their last 4 road games. So, Miami however, is only 2-4 at home. Head-to-heads, when I looked at those, Mike, you got Duke. Pitt won by 2. Miami lost by 24. Virginia, Pitt won by 30. Miami won by 2. My concern is that, Miami's just been down. I mean, that offense just hasn't been what it should be. However, Pittsburgh's, we heard the numbers on Slovis. I mean, they're not impressive at all. But I just in this particular situation and the trends and what we looked at against head-to-heads, I'm gonna have to take Pitt and at the -6.5 mark.
That's fine. Hey, I will say something in your favor. Narduzzi has been in this similar spot with us before. Last game of the season where he has a chance to play spoiler. Back in 2017 when we were number 2, he knocked us off with then freshman quarterback Kenny Pickett at home and sort of shocked us and set us back. So he very well could do it again by preventing us from going to a bowl game. So
I don't think that plays into this, Mike. It's
well,
a big
they don't
team.
have
It's
Kenny
different.
Pickett. That's the good news. They got Keaton Slovis, so that's
Exactly.
going for us. But they do have a
Exactly.
dog at running back, so
Yeah, true that.
it's going to be a test for our defense. That's for sure.
It is. It is. I mean, and we talked about all the folks leaving, and we'll get to my Gators in a minute because they're in the same freaking boat as you guys are, in terms of all the players leaving. And
Yep.
but I'm purely going off the numbers here in this particular situation, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
It's interesting. It's not necessarily either two, just the Gators and the Hurricanes that are going through this. There's a lot of guys hitting the portals right now. Bama just had 2 or 3 guys hit this week. It just seems to be that time where these guys are saying, instead of potentially risking injury, playing 1 more week for these guys or 2 more weeks for these guys where I'm not even playing, not even getting time. Why am I here? And I mean, I feel it, but at the same time, from the perspective of, another school recruiting these guys or wanting to bring them in, do you think that plays a factor at all that they're, not playing these last couple games and they're choosing to already hit the transfer portal?
Mike, I don't think the other team. I think what they're trying to do. This is purely my opinion. I mean, I think they're trying to get ahead of the game so they can get their name out there and say, "Look, I'm ready to go. Come get me." Because when we hit that date, which is only goddamn a week and change away,
Yeah.
when we hit that date, it's going to be Katie bar the door, bigger and better than we've ever seen in terms of transfer portal history. Because and you can see that from all the scuttlebutt and crap we hear, that you hear from Miami and I hear from Florida, that we're going to get 10 or 12 guys that we need to get that many people from the transfer portal.
Right.
A lot of the teams that are struggling are saying that. So I think these kids are just getting their name out there as quick as they can.
Yep.
To kind of make it legal, right? Because essentially you can't go talking to a player until they get their name in there.
Right.
And I can give you an example of the bullshit going on the Florida blocks right now. What's the quarterback at Wake Forest? What's his name?
Sam Hartman.
Yeah. So word has it, he's gonna hit the portal. Word has it, Florida's interested in him, and it's like, that kind of shit is just, it's ridiculous. So it's like, my thought is these kids. That's why I'm saying these kids are getting their name out there as quick as they can, so that the teams can research and jump on them and give them the offers.
Well, no, I mean the early signing day is a huge factor that I think a lot of people forget about. That, like you said, that's I think it's about 2 weeks from now. They have that early signing period where these guys can go ahead and commit before February, so they can go ahead and lock up that scholarship spot somewhere else. So yeah, it's a really great point, Dave.
And the window for the portal is coming up even before signing day, Mike. So it's just, it's like a damn volcano,
right,
that's coming together, and these kids are jumping. We've been in the same boat. We've lost 2 or 3 this week, and I'll allude to that in a minute, but it's crazy. It really is crazy.
Yeah. All right, 2 games left, including yours. Let's go ahead and jump into Arkansas, Missouri. Arkansas is at Missouri after their big win last week at home. I think they're riding too high. I think they look too good. I watched a recap of that game against Ole Miss. Ole Miss had over 700 total yards in that game. They just couldn't get out of their own way. They had deflected interceptions that didn't go their way. They had a ton of fumbles that didn't go their way. And Arkansas just played a solid game. They were consistent. They were able to move the ball on Ole Miss's defense. I think they still ran for 250 on the ground, so they were able to keep it going. KJ Jefferson looked good. He looked like he was actually maybe healthy for the first time all year since the beginning of the year, so that's great for Arkansas. However, they are going to Missouri, where I think their dreams and hopes and momentum are going to die. I think Missouri +3 is the play here. I like their coach, Drinkwitz. He's got that same attitude that these other guys are starting to have too. He had a great comment and quote in an interview this past week about guys jumping ship and hitting the transfer portal when they run into a little bit of adversity, because we are in this day and age of social media, and some guys are going through it wanting the trophies, the gold now, without sort of going through that grind. And the transfer portal just amplifies that. So it'll be interesting. I think he's going to get his guys to play, though, this week. I think the guys that are there are going to go for him. He recently got an extension, too, I think earlier this year or last year. So he's going to be there for a while. He's not going anywhere. I know Missouri fans do not like their quarterback, Cook. I know he's had some issues throughout this year. I think he's shown flashes. I mean, that kid could be good. And Missouri is in a much better position earlier in this year if they don't lose, stupid games like they did to Auburn. They're playing for a bowl eligibility now because of the games like that game against Auburn. So you're going to get Missouri's best game in this one, I believe. Let me take Missouri +3, and I'm going to send it over to you, Dave. Who do you have? And then we move on to Florida State, Florida.
Nice. So Arkansas 6-5, Missouri 5-6. Like you say, they're competing for a bowl here. So KJ Jefferson comes in at 68%, 21-46, 20-3. Cook is 66%, 22-67, 12-7. Both teams are 6-5 against the spread. Obviously, Arkansas is coming off that win against Ole Miss, 42-27. The Hogs are averaging 31 points a game. Missouri's only averaging 25. Neither defense is really stellar. Arkansas is ranked 175. Missouri's 108. When we look at head-to-heads, we got Auburn. Missouri lost to Auburn by 3. Arkansas won by 14. I think with Jefferson playing in this game, they've got a chance here. I think what we're looking at is that Arkansas is kind of the mid-level, in my opinion, of the SEC West. But Missouri is, I don't consider them mid-level. I consider them almost in the lower level of the East. So I think the West is a little stronger than the East. So I've got to go with Arkansas in this game, Mike. Just off of resume and where they are. If KJ Jefferson, he's playing up to his potential. I think they can beat Missouri at Missouri, so I'm going Arkansas on the money line here, Mike.
Right on. Love a good showdown. All right, moving on. Florida State, Florida, final game. I'll go first. I'll give you the sign-off special here with your Gators. I think, unfortunately, for your team this week, much like my team earlier this year, it's just Florida State's time right now. I think they're on a different level, and I think they're gonna pull one out against you guys. Prime time in Tallahassee. I think the only thing that's going for you guys is that it is Thanksgiving weekend. So, maybe some of the students went home. They're not going to be, maybe that many there. It's still going to be a sellout. I think they're going to be rowdy and they're going to be hungry after especially doing what they did to us prior this year. They're going to be hungry to potentially be the kings of the state of Florida for this year. So I think they get it done at 9.5. It's a little high for a rivalry game. I just think Anthony Richardson's going to do too much. I saw a quote earlier this week where he basically guaranteed a win against them. Never like that. That's never like bullet board material going into a rivalry game like that. Florida State's defense is playing great. Their D line's playing well. Offense is clicking. I just think it's going to be too much for Florida this year. We'll see what they do next year, Florida State, if they can keep this going. But right now, I mean, they're definitely on a roll. Norvell's got them clicking. So yeah, give me Florida State -9.5 at home. What do you like here, Dave?
All right, so Gators coming at 6-5. Florida State is 8-3. Richardson at 56%, 2,300 yards, 14-8. Jordan Travis coming in at 65%, 2,526 yards of passing, 21 TDs, and only 4 interceptions. So quite well. Florida's 6-5 against the spread, which, shit, not bad considering the shitty year we've had. Florida State, however, is 8-3 against the spread. Doak's going to be rocking. FSU has not beat the Gators since 2017. Last year we beat them with a lame duck coach after we fired Mullins. So rather interesting there. Gators lost last week to Vandy, which was horrible. Totally. Reason they lost was because of poor execution. Penalties and turnovers. All said and done there. 34 points due to penalties and turnovers. So, and we totally shot ourselves in the foot. The only road win we've had was against Texas A&M, who sucks. Gators' run game is good, but they didn't show up last week. They're going to have to get the running game going one way or another, because that's our bread and butter. Our defenses looked awful all year long, and like I told Ian tonight at Thanksgiving dinner, I mean, Florida's defense would have to play like they did against South Carolina, which was our best defensive effort.
Mm-hmm.
And then give me we've had at least 3 or 4 good offensive games.
Yeah.
But all that would have to come to fruition to have a decent damn game.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that all damn year.
Yep.
So the other huge issue. So in terms of the receivers for Florida, number 1 receiver is out. Number 2 receiver is out. Number 3 receiver is questionable. Number 4 receiver is out. Number 5 receiver is out.
Jeez.
So we might be playing number 3 and number 6 and 7 to start the game. Just so you know, on the receiver front.
Hey, next man up.
Not to mention our best player on defense, our linebacker, got a targeting call in the second half of the last game, and he won't play the first half.
Damn.
Screwed. And on a crappy defense. FSU's defenses look good. And Travis is just controlling things. I mean, he's looked great. I mean, Florida State looks like a put-together team for the ACC, done quite well and very complete. Florida's defense, 90th in FBS. I mean, it would take a miracle, which we haven't seen all year, of both the offense and defense playing well to have a shot to come within that 9.5 points. So, unfortunately, like I told Ian tonight, FSU, easy money and the -9.5 points.
Right on. All right, sir. That is our 12 games for Week 13.
It is. And next week, I guess we'll be looking at the championship games, right?
Yep. Conference championships.
And then probably we might skip a week and go the following week and do bowl games after that, right? That'd be the game plan.
That probably sounds like the schedule, I think.
All right, cool. So, it's been an interesting year. Both our teams very much in the same boat. And Mike, I didn't even mention, like I said, the 2 or 3 guys that left. I mean, we had our probably number 4 receiver left 2-3 weeks ago. I mean, obviously he'd be starting right now, be a major player in this game, but he left because he wanted to get his name out there in the transfer portal. And both our teams right now are look so very similar in terms of players leaving. But, it's time to clean house with our teams, Mike. And we've got to get the players that our coaches, that both of us have confidence in order to be successful with the systems and the culture that both these coaches want. And it's tough right now for both of us, for Florida, for the Hurricanes, and for a number of other teams. And we just got to suck it up. Some of our fans are so stupid and thinking that, a rebuild is, why the hell aren't we winning 8 games in a rebuild? And that crap just doesn't happen unless you've got high caliber talent. And neither one of our teams have that. We're working towards it. We're number 8 and we're number 9 in the 2023 recruiting classes right now, and we're not done yet. And I think both our teams are going to do well and definitely finish in the top 10 in terms of recruiting. And we got to suck it up and rebuild.
Yep.
Things have changed a lot with the transfer portal and with this deal with these kids making all this money. So we got to suck it up. So very interesting. Look forward to it, and hopefully your team gets to a bowl and we can really chat it up later on in a couple of weeks in that regard.
Yeah, you and me both. Real quick, I'm putting the recap up. So we both are on Tulane +2. You're on Coastal Carolina in the points. I'm on James Madison. We're both on Troy. We're both on Arizona money line. Both on Ohio State -7. You like the over in the Baylor-Texas game. I'm on Texas. We both are on the over in the Texas Tech-Oklahoma game. In the Apple Cup, I'm on the Cougars. You're on the Huskies. We both like the Tar Heels against NC State. You're on the Panthers. I'm on the Hurricanes. You're on the Razorbacks. I'm on the Tigers. And then we are both on the Seminoles against your Gators. Sir, that is it. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Well, I appreciate everybody listening, watching. Please make sure that you guys like what we're doing. Subscribe so that you guys can catch us and get the reminders of when we're jumping on. It's been a blast. Look forward to a few more episodes before we wrap this thing up. And I appreciate all the listeners. And Mike, I appreciate you and what you're doing. And go Gators.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate you as always. Go Canes. Let's hope that we both finish the regular season off with at least competition. I just, at this point, we just want to see our teams compete. So,
absolutely.
We'll see what happens. But all right, sir. Thank you as always. We'll see you next week.